Hello, folks. Thank you for joining us today. Another episode of Education Matters. Today we have a special guest from Liberty Harbor Academy. And I'm pleased to announce we have Headmaster Rico McCahon.
Thank you for having me.
And if you could just let us know a little bit about Liberty Harbor Academy. We have a half-hour show here, and I'm sure the residents of Manchester would love to hear a little more about, the history of Liberty Harbor, how it came about. And I believe you moved recently.
Yep, all these things.
So we'll just start with those two questions.
Sure. Liberty Harbor Academy. It's a private classical liberal arts high school here in Manchester. We opened in 2011. We did move recently. This year we've moved. But the whole point was that we were seeing a great deal of students at the college level even coming and not being prepared for just basic level courses. They didn't know what they really should know. That provided the motivation for Dr. Julianne Cooper and Professor Reeder, her husband, to found this school and to really try to remedy those shortcomings that we found. We started off right on Elm Street with about 10 students, grew to 20 students the next year, and this year we've actually opened up a middle school. So we're now middle school and high school, and we're over at 60 Rogers Street currently.
Oh, that's great. So small class sizes.
Very small.
I
We have put it into our documents that we will not have more than around 150 students per school. We would like eventually to have multiple Liberty Harbors around the state and even beyond. But for now, we want to keep that a small, intimate school where all the students can get the real attention they need. No more of this falling through the cracks that we see often.
Oh, that's great. And I was wondering about the grade levels. Okay, you just told us about the middle school you just added.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you go by age level or by intelligence
It's a complicated
level?
question. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So we do not. We have technically from grade 7 through 12. However, you are not defined by how long you sit in your chair. So I know New Hampshire's gotten rid of the Carnegie units, and so it's no longer just 1 year means one grade. We use orders. So when they come in as what would be a freshman, they are considered a Tuscan order. We use the classical Greek orders: Tuscan, Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. And you can find more about that on our website about what those different columns are. But they are progressing not just in terms of academics, but in terms of their character, their maturity. So we're really looking at their whole person as much as possible. We've chosen a difficult path for ourselves as teachers.
Well, that needs a little more explanation, I think. But with the list of questions we have, we'll just continue on. Now, we can talk about the environment of Liberty Harbor.
Sure.
And it seems to be a professional
very much
atmosphere.
So. Very much. This is what I wear to school every day. I'm not, it's perhaps not the typical high school professor outfit. We even refer to teachers not just as Mrs. and Mr., but as professor.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to raise the bar with that. And I believe we have an image of our front lobby, and what the images really conveys is the professionalism that we're trying to expose the kids to not make them so that they understand that this is the environment they should be expecting when they hit that professional life of theirs.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I see the photo there. And the courses, is this a liberal arts?
It is liberal arts, but it is at the same time hybrid. We have all of the classical liberal arts, and in fact we're going one step further by doing something called spiral education. And as far as we can tell, we're really the first ones who really be pulling this off. It's difficult, but instead of exposing yourself to an idea in one class and never touching it again, all of the classes are continually re-looking at all the material, not all the time, but the material keeps coming back, and we recover it over and over again from different angles. We have on our faculty meetings on Tuesdays, we make a point of making sure that everyone knows what everyone's covering, so that if there's any crossover that's possible, if I can talk about something in my biology course that is talked about in Western civilization, then let's use it. Let's continually remind them of the stuff they've covered before from another angle, and they're going to learn it better. At the same time, we're not just a liberal arts school. We have our Dean of Student Affairs, Michelle Strout. She teaches the Friday program, and they go out into the public. They visited PSNH, the library, just a whole range of companies, and they really get a sense of what it is that is going on in terms of the community, and they're getting a hands-on experience there. She also runs the economic development course, where they actually run some kind of community improvement program with the kids put together, and so they're getting hands-on experience in essentially being entrepreneurs.
Great. Now, does she by any chance run the camp program in the summer, or?
She does.
I understand
Yep.
from the website there's a camp.
We
Summer
have camps.
camp?
We don't have any camps scheduled for this particular summer, but
Okay.
as certainly if any of our viewers are interested in, we have the Princess Charm School, which is run by Michelle Strout. I run a games of strategy camp where it's mostly, as long as the outdoors are available, no rain, we play all kinds of stuff, but a lot of chess and that kind of thing. But we don't have any scheduled at the moment.
Okay, so that brings me to the other point about being a homeschool agent.
Yes.
Because as a homeschooler, those students probably can participate in what we just talked about?
Yep. We offer our courses a la carte to homeschool students. We definitely applaud any parent who is able to homeschool. We think that's an excellent thing and nothing to be discredited. But when you get into the high school age, there may be areas that a parent is not prepared to teach in, or maybe they want some extra experience in that area. We have all of our classes available so that a homeschooler could come in and take that class just piecemeal.
Oh, that's great. And the Liberty Harbor daily schedule, did I notice that it was from 9 to 5?
It is 9 to 5. But again, that's in the spirit of being professional. The 7 to 3 or any of the other schedules, we also know that a teenage brain is not exactly functional between the hours of 7 and 9. Even at 9, it can be a stretch. But again, to keep them in that, this is what real life is. We're not going to put you in some special little environment and then let you be shocked by suddenly 9 to 5. I have to be there until 5 o'clock? My goodness. No. We also have block scheduling, so we have hour-and-a-half classes. We have advising every single day. So each student has an advisor. They meet in small groups. I have 5 of my own, and we discuss both academic stuff that's going on, papers, struggles in classes, but it does tend, because it's an intimate environment, it turns into just personal issues as they develop, becoming a man. What does this mean? What are their responsibilities? And so we can cover
relationships.
It does come up.
Relationships.
Yep. All of it. And we get a chance to cover some things that I don't think most other schools would have an opportunity to even access in terms of the student's life.
On a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
And so you're really getting to know that student.
Very well. Actually, to enforce that further, we limit all the schools to 150. So we'll always have the capacity to keep that low. We don't want to have packed classrooms. That's not the intent. And the more we do that, the more we open up those gaps that students can slip through the cracks. The same sort of thing that we say, no, that's why we're here, to prevent that kind of thing. Right.
How do students like their new learning environment when they come from a public school?
It can be tough. It's not the easiest thing. It is very different. We try to extend as many freedoms to the students as possible. They have time in school to do their homework. So ideally, they would never have homework that they have to do at home, reading perhaps, things like this. But we try to make ourselves accessible all the time. Go so far as we don't have, as faculty, we don't have a faculty lounge or some place where we can hide away. We're almost always available, which makes it sometimes difficult to get work done during the day. But it's important to us to be available.
Like a mentor.
Yep.
A true mentor to the students. So the environment coming out of public schools.
Yep.
Is there, there may be challenges
I think
to the student, and
the
how
biggest challenge is the way they see the classes. If you're in, say, an English class, you talk about English, nothing else, and then the bell rings, you leave. Then you go to your science class, science only, math only. And so each thing is its own little silo. That spiral education that we talked about before, what it does is it blends all the classes together. There's always overlap. And we try to really enforce it so the students are never completely in one thing only. So in my biology class, we're talking about history. We're talking about, we're using classical works. We're reading the Iliad and the Decameron, just works that include descriptions of ancient plagues, things like this. And so there's never just one class where this is all we're doing today. There's always overlap. And they don't like that, at least at first. It's very uncomfortable.
Because it's challenging intellectually?
It seems so. They're used to this. I'm here now. I'm not talking about those other things. I'm here now. And they're also used to often the 1 year, 1 grade. Because we tie it to their own personal development, it puts a lot of responsibility on them to realize what it is they need to do to take advantage of the advising, to really work at improving themselves so they can eventually graduate.
So they're looking at the whole world, basically, in context.
The whole world and almost all of time. We heavily emphasize Western civilization, so starting from the pre-Socratics on, these students will have a conversational, if not a working knowledge of basically all of Western civilization. They're going to walk into college, I think, very surprised how much they know.
Great. And so, I mean, I don't want to get on a negative note, but if these students maybe really can't manage, or are there any disciplinary problems in the school? I mean, I wouldn't think there's bullying or anything like that. I mean, since
they are still teenagers, and actually, so we have a uniform, and as they move up from Tuscan to Doric, one of the things it's actually become a big deal. They get to wear a sport coat in addition to their white shirt and the tie, and the slacks.
Class rank.
Right. Yeah. They can visually see what are you, and they can, just by looking at what they're wearing, they know where they stand.
Is that intimidating to them a little bit, or
perhaps a little bit? But eventually, they want to do it. They want to wear this stuff, and it actually makes it harder for us because I look at some of my students, and in my mind, when I see them, I'm seeing 18-year-old, 19, maybe even early 20. Just now, I know they're not, but they look like it. They tell me regularly that they pass themselves off, or they are mistaken for managers in stores or college students, this kind of thing. Yeah.
So I wouldn't think there's any disciplinary problems.
There can be. We demand respect and compliance. We spend a lot of time talking about why things happened instead of
responsibility.
Right. Every infraction comes with a conversation, which keeps us busy if there's something going on. But it's not just you did it wrong, smack your hand, bad. Let's talk about why. How do you move past this?
Right. More of a positive.
Right. Always a positive
note.
Yep. We try very hard to keep everything as forward thinking as we can.
Right. And so students are being prepared for graduation, technically, or graduating from high school to the world, or to college or university.
Right. Well, we do not assume that everyone needs to go to college. There are plenty of good reasons to do so. There are better colleges and not so good colleges. We want all our students to go to where they will thrive. And if college is it, and often it's fine, then they will be ready for that. But we also want to open the door, particularly through the Friday program, to local businesses, to entrepreneurs, people who took other routes, so they know what's possible, and that they graduate with a range of contacts, people that they could actually go and talk to about if they have an idea for a new business, an invention, whatever it is. They have a social network that they can already rely on.
So you're just helping them individually to meet their goals or their perspective of the world, or whatever their aspirations are.
Right. And it's also a challenge because at that age, often they don't know what they want to do. So for
Their strengths.
Yep. We go Tuscan, Doric, Ionic. And in the Ionic order, what would sort of be a junior to us, not necessarily the third year, but it can be, they are encouraged to have an internship of some kind. So something that we have a lot of people who are interested in veterinary science, for example. I'm not sure why that's the trend. So we try to arrange it so they can have some experience with a veterinarian or something along the line of what they're interested in, so that when they graduate, they already have a sense of what that means. And hopefully, especially if they don't like it, well, I tried that, and that's not for me.
At least they did get the opportunity to discover.
Right.
That's great. Now, looking at the student, there may be some students, I'm guessing, that would be a great model for your school, and others that may not be the great model for your school. Do you have that kind of, like in an interview, are you looking for certain character or certain traits or certain type of student?
We believe that everyone can learn. We are not a school that is catering to sports. We have some time that if a student is really interested in sports, we can arrange for that to happen. But we ourselves are not sports oriented. Our gym class, for example, is martial arts. Take Taekwondo currently. But if the student is willing to push themselves and is ready to take on that responsibility, even if they don't know what that means, but they can express that they want to be there, they're ready to push
Take
themselves.
the challenge.
Yep.
That you're not going to turn anybody away. You're going to give them all a chance.
We do the best we can.
And see if it works out.
Right.
For them.
And we have a limited number of seatings, but we're always trying to find the potential in them. If a student really doesn't want to be there, we've had parents who come and bring their student, and the student really doesn't want to be there. If that's clear, then it's not the right fit.
Right. Okay. Now we can maybe get into a little bit how the structure of the school and how to apply to school. Or the parents can visit the school, students can visit.
Yes, well, both.
Registration.
So the most applications begin with a pre-app. The pre-application, it's on our website. It's just a quick form that we can start the conversation about what can be done and how your child would fit. After that, then we have a 2-day shadowing. So the student comes and, for all intents and purposes, is a student for 2 days. And they get to experience the full range. And the 2 days is because we tend to divide so in this case, Mondays and Wednesdays are the history and humanities. Tuesdays and Thursdays tend to be math and science. So having 2 days in a row, they get to experience most of the classes. And we also try to encourage them to come on the Fridays as well. They get a field trip, they get that kind of thing, a bit more active. And that is, of course, no obligation. You come, and if it's a right fit for you, then let's keep talking. It isn't the right fit for everybody. But if it is the right fit, I think we've seen students really thrive in this environment. I mean, it goes so far as we've seen students who are on antidepressants and ADD medications.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's not a miracle cure, but we're always trying to get them off these things and trying to get them to stand on their own 2 feet, not just relying on, that I'm a victim, I have this condition.
Right.
They're better than that.
Right.
Yeah.
And without the stresses, perhaps, of the public school, maybe they can manage without medication.
Right.
In that way.
So actually that brings up, we try also always to have the students from day one know when their quizzes are, when their papers are due, what the readings are. They know everything about that term. There's maybe a little changes here and there, but they know everything that's coming up. So there is no, I don't know, are they going to have a pop quiz? Are we going to have, what's going to happen? They know. We've already given it to them.
And I would assume that you're not participating in the Smarter Balance assessment.
No.
Or anything to do with Common Core?
Nothing to do with Common Core. We are, we will not join the Common Core. We will not adopt that in any case. And that's one of the great things about being a private school, that we have the capacity to actually say no, even if the rest of New Hampshire says yes.
So if parents have an aversion to the Common Core, then they know if they bring their student and it works out that the student's accepted at the school, they will not be having anything to do with Common Core
Yep.
or the Smarter Balance assessments.
There will be none of these things.
That's good. And thinking about the graduates or your aspirations for graduates, from what your history is, I think you say this year's a graduating class.
Yep, we have our first graduation this June 7th. We have a handful of students. I think it's around 8 students we're graduating. That's very exciting. But we can already point to what these students will be capable of.
Mm-hmm.
I was a student of the founders, Dr. Cooper and Professor Reeder, over a decade ago. And when myself and the other students in my same class encountered these two, we weren't going anywhere. We had, I, for example, was told that by my guidance counselor in high school that I was not college material.
Oh my goodness.
So in getting accepted, and fortunately in the school where they were, I sort of got turned on. I was excited about learning. I always had it. I guess no one ever bothered to put the effort into and telling me that I was capable of this kind of stuff. Went on to Dartmouth. My own story is duplicated in many other students like me that went on to law school, joined, did very well getting into the Navy and their JAG program. We're all over the place, many grad schools, college professors now. The program that the students are going through at Liberty Harbor is the same program that I went through, sometimes even the same papers. I know the stuff works because I went through it.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they fully realize it or not, and I suspect they don't yet, there's a lot in store for them.
Their future is bright.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They
That's
will
good.
be able to handle situations that will seem natural to them. The ones around their coworkers or colleagues will sort of be befuddled, and they won't know how to deal with this stuff. Our students will, yep, all right, I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Or a term that we teach our students from day one is autodidacticism, which is self-learning. My job as a professor is not the only time they will learn. Hopefully they will learn not the stuff I'm teaching alone, but how to learn and how to love learning.
Mm-hmm.
So they will always be able to, if you hire one of our students and say, all right, I need you to do this. Okay, I know a little bit about that. I can figure it out. And they do it. And they know how to learn.
Problem solving.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of actually chess that goes on. And while it's a fun game, there are very few games that you can play that you learn logic, problem solving, focus, patience, how to win and lose with grace. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now, the Liberty Harbor and as you see, the logo is about liberty and freedom, and I think I wanted to cover this at the beginning, but however, we have 5 minutes left, so we're going to, I think, ask you to talk about the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and how that relates to the mission of the school and the whole purpose and maybe vision.
All right. Well, we have written for the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness right into our mission statement. That can be found on our website, but it is pivotal to what we believe as important as how to train our students to become competent human beings. What does it mean to be a human? How do you live a good life? We designed the school largely around actually Thomas Jefferson's version of the University of Virginia, the academical village. You give them an environment where they can learn not just in classrooms but throughout the entire atmosphere, having the lobby being the way it is, the way that we're supposed to dress, their uniforms, everything about it is an entire learning environment. They can't escape learning. Even the games we play are learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Jefferson's idea of how to structure the University of Virginia. And so we draw a lot. We even have a bust of Jefferson right there, right in front. Every time someone comes in, that's one of the first things they'll see.
Mm.
And so if we can't teach people to understand what it means to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and to live it out, and to protect it, cherish it,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to lose it. And they won't even know what they lost. But if we can awaken a desire and a an understanding of these things, these students they'll understand what's at stake, and they will have the tools to take action and do something. It may not be, well, actually we had a student who was interested in running for governor. I think it was a legislation, state rep or something along that line. But they'll find their niche, and they'll be able to really dig in and pursue it in ways that perhaps they can't even imagine now.
Now, so they will become good Americans, in other
Yes.
words.
Great Americans.
Great Americans. And loving the Constitution,
Yep.
loving the rule of law, and not necessarily I have to say it, even though I don't want to say it, but I have to say it about, in Common Core, I know the emphasis is on producing global citizens. And there's no such thing as a global citizen.
No, definitely not.
There's no place in the world where you can get a passport that
America
says global
is the
citizen.
only place in the world, and ever, that is founded on an idea, the idea of equality before the law. Everything else is based on some sort of just a dictum. Here is a country, or here is a group. We haven't really voted for any UN stuff or any. There is no global citizen. It's not an idea that we have any idea of what it means. But we do know what America means. We have the documents, we have the history, we know what this is.
Exactly. Well, we have 2 minutes left, and I'm sorry it's going to be so short. I think everyone should, look into Liberty Harbor Academy, find out if that might be a place for your student. And could you give some information about the website or how to
Yep,
contact Dr. Cooper or yourself as headmaster? And
Yep.
I know this time now is registration time.
Yep, always looking for registrations. It's always good. It's not just a simple fill out the form and get in. We have to talk to you and really get to know you and make sure that you're the right fit.
So they have interviews.
Yep. But libertyharboracademy.org is our website, and on there you'll find all this information, how to apply, and our phone number is on there as well, but 603 296-0939.
Oh, great. I do appreciate you coming on
Of course,
today.
it's great.
And I really have an affinity to the school, and I'm excited that you're in town and you can serve the residents of Manchester. And I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And we'll let folks know how things are going with Liberty Harbor. I mean, is that place that you're at now, your new location, is that permanent?
No, it's not. We want our own building, and we want
Okay.
something that really, in the same idea of, the image itself, having the Statue of Liberty, we want something that really says Liberty Harbor Academy. This is where we are, and that's where we'll be for a little while, but when we find a permanent location, it will become another beacon on the hill.
Right, exactly. All right, so we'll keep up and see where you go in the future, and I appreciate you being with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.